Hello, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald.
I'm Board.
And we're going to review Bantam West by Bantam World.
Yeah. So this is again our new structure. So
Sorry. Bantam Planet.
Bantam Planet. I knew Bantam World didn't sound right. It sounded like a place you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have our normal new review structure. Wow, that was brutal. That we've had for the last few videos. So now we have 4 categories instead of 5. We weight gameplay a little bit heavier. One thing to call out for this game specifically is there's multiple scenarios, so it keeps adding more and more things. We did thoroughly play the first 3 scenarios, which is everything but 2-player and solo. So the review is a full review based on multiple gameplays with all of the pieces added.
Yeah, the other thing we didn't do is, like I said, we didn't do the solo, we didn't do the 2-player variant, which does add some other pieces, but it shouldn't really add any more value to the gameplay or change it up specifically. Right, we did play it with 4 players as well as 3 players, as well as we actually did the tutorial with 2 players.
Yes.
So we've gone through pretty much every player count as well.
Yeah, so again, our typical review structure, we're going to start with storage, go into the rule book, talk about components and design combined into one now, and then the gameplay. Yeah. So starting off with storage, what would you like to say?
All right, so starting off with storage. What I would like to say is that there is none. All of this here I actually bought separately because the storage the box comes with itself are bags for things. You fill those bags with the things and you put those things that are in the bags in the box, which is super annoying, especially for a game that has this many components. Like, it's honestly kind of ridiculous. Now, with that being said, you can buy a storage by Game Trays, I believe, from their website, but you had to wait for that to be available to buy that. I actually got this copy from somebody else, and that storage still wasn't released when I got that copy from somebody else, and there was nowhere near this thing being freshly released. So it took a while for that storage to even come down the line. So it is there that you can buy from them, but it did not come with the base game, which is a big no-no for me. The other big no-no, if you do buy that storage from them, because I looked into getting that first, it does not have a spot for some of the expansion stuff, like the minis that they sell for the houses. These are what typically come with the base game, which are fine for the base game. These are upgrades you can buy. The storage that came out after the game was released did not have a space to store both of these, or at least these. So that's why I didn't buy that. I found somebody on Etsy who has 3D printing storage for this, thankfully, which keeps everything very well organized, easy to take out, everything's in its own place, and I love that. If you're curious what that is when you watch this, just ask us in the comments below and I'll put a link to it. So the storage, because there was none other than bags that go in this box, but because you could buy one, I gave them a little bit of a break. It would have been a 1.5, but I did give them a 2 because they had storage you could at least purchase from them as well, specifically made for their components. But a 2 is still by no means good.
All right. So for me, first off, the Etsy developer, 5 out of 5. But we're not grading them today.
Absolutely.
We're grading Bantam Planet. So for my storage situation, I do agree. It was bags and things in the box. Put a lid on top. So
put a lid on top.
For me, I went the other way. So I was going to give a 1.5, but because you have to purchase storage. So again, if this game was just a bunch of cards and you got to stack cards into like rows, okay, fine. Maybe I'll purchase like a $5 storage thing.
Yep.
Because they already knew how many components are in this game. Not only how many components, there's a lot of different shapes and sizes. Those get dinged up very easily when they're in bags getting tossed around. So the fact that not only did you buy a very good game, expensive game, but they made you pay on top of that for storage, I knocked it the other way and gave it a 1.
Makes sense. I get it.
Because like that should be part of the base price I'm paying. I feel like that's a Ticketmaster type fee situation. It's like, oh, I was told I had to pay $50, but really you got to add all this other stuff on, so it's $100.
It's like, hey, here's this game that has a bunch of really cool things, but if you want to keep them nice and neat, you got to buy this storage separately. It's like an Apple product. It's so dumb.
And that's why I'm a Galaxy user.
A Galaxy, Android, yeah, same here, exactly. Same, so I have an Android as well, not an Apple. Okay, so next up we have our rule book. So the rule book does cover these as well as any player aids that do come with them too. What we doing with the rule book?
So start with the player aid. Player aid, very good. So one side of the player aid here, which I'll just zoom in on my side, it goes over, here's your actions that require 1 grit. Grit is like a spending point you have in the game. Boom, there's those actions. These set of actions are free actions, and then those are during the day phase. At the night phase, it bullet points exactly what happens. It doesn't go into too much detail, but it gives you the structure that if you learned in the game book what to do, you would understand it. On the back, it just gives you some other generic information. So looting, here's what happens if you loot another player. Here's what happens if you want to go into stealth mode. Here's some of the illegal actions that could cost you to go to jail. So I think the play rate is very informative. Again, I reference it significant amount of times during the game to see, oh, this is what I can do on my turn.
Yep.
These rule books, different story. So they give you 2 rule books here. A standard field manual, advanced technical manual. The standard field manual is built to go through all of the normal setup, all of the actions you would do in your turn, different things you would have to encounter and deal with, like shopping, cards, what happens if you die, what happens if you start a fire, etc. This book, though, is built for it's not a tutorial, I'm going to say an intro scenario. It's built very specifically to say, hey, if you want a very, very simplistic version of the game, read this book. We can help you do it. It does not cover all of the other things. Those are all covered in the second book. So then, based on your scenario, so if you play number 2, Shadow Governors, you then have to go through and understand all of these on top of that. And then if you need to reference something, you got to figure out, was it in the base version? Was it in the expanded version?
Yep.
What section is it in? As you can see here, there are areas like highlighted as what's happening, but it's just a generic black bold color. It doesn't stand out super well when you're trying to flip through it to figure out exactly what you're looking for.
Yep.
So not a fan of that. The game should not be as complex as they made it seem like in this rulebook, where it required 2 rulebooks. You could just go through and be like, here's the base stuff, here's all of the add-on types of cards, and then here's the game modes at the end of 1 rulebook. So having 2 rulebooks made it very confusing. Also, there's a lot of things in this rulebook that are very vague. We had multiple scenarios, and I'll just give one example here. Here we go. This here explains a card. Combat card breakdown. So combat cards are things you get. I happen to get a keepsake card, which is the same color as a combat card. You just get it a little differently. And on this card, there is a section here which is like a passive effect or some type of extra effect. Nowhere in their description of this card does it say, this effect here, how does it work? Does it apply to the primary action requirements, which are usually during combat? Does it apply to something else? Does not give any explanation on how I do this. Do I need to be in the same space? Can I be one space away? No information whatsoever.
And that's in general in the entire book that we could see. So,
Yeah.
like, if this was specifically, okay, these are for combat cards, cool, get that. But nowhere else
Yeah, no,
was there anything on the other
For
cards.
the keepsake card, it just said how to get a keepsake card. It didn't say like what the keepsake card meant.
Yeah.
So that was a huge issue for us, and it wasn't just the cards; it was multiple things.
Yeah.
The other so one thing I do like while I'm here, I do like the iconography on the back. Good for you. You did that well. This I'm not a fan of. So this here is an event reference for event cards. So you pull event cards, it'll tell you, hey, card number 29. I read it to Nick, he makes a decision, I come over here and based on his decision, I tell him what the result is. I understand the reason for putting it separate, which is there's some that apply to everybody. So if I'm reading the card, I shouldn't know what the results are before I roll the dice, if it's a die roll, or a choice to roll the die knowing what the results are. That was far and few between. There was maybe 10% of them or less that had that situation. Most of it was only to the person you're reading to. In all of those cases, you can put the information directly on the result on the event card. Just be like, hey, option 1, and then in parentheses, what the result is.
Yeah.
Or make this just a separate piece of paper or a separate pamphlet. I hated those in the back of this book because there was multiple times in our playthrough where I had to read an
But
event.
you can play solo, though, so that wouldn't work in solo.
True, okay, give it a separate pamphlet then. But there was multiple times though where I was looking, like, 'cause I'm reading Nick an event, I have to
agree
wait for a decision, and then Josh here wanted to look up a rule. Well, we can't both do that because this book has that stuff.
I agree with where you're going with it.
So they could have done significantly better. Again, a separate pamphlet would have been great.
Yep.
If this rule book was in here, you can make that little pamphlet.
Yep.
So overall, I just was not a fan on how they set it up. The very last thing I'll say, and I'm going to include this in rulebook, I'm also going to call it out again later, is if there is anything in the game, on a tile, on a card, it needs to be called out in the rulebook how it works.
Yes.
On this game board, there's a train station. That train station is nowhere in this rulebook. I looked it up out of curiosity. There's an individual on BGG called it out, and he's like, oh yeah, I think it's going to be an expansion content that they just threw in, but hopefully it'll come soon.
We'll see with this spot here.
Yeah, and then there's other event spaces, which we don't. That might be in solo. We don't know that. But that's 100% not in the book. I checked that. Where don't put things on the game board and don't have a spot for them. You could easily put them in the rulebook and say, hey, expansion coming soon. But at least call it out. That way we're not searching for 20 minutes trying to find something that doesn't exist. So my rulebook score, because of how cluttered it is, how unorganized it seems to be, and vague it is a 1.5.
Sounds about right. Alrighty. So, rulebooks. I'll start off with the good. The back here, iconography, great. Especially this section right here that references the animals because those are not on the actual tokens themselves, which we'll get to when we get to design. So that's here, absolutely wonderful. Having different scenarios, and in general, having a book for the scenarios that also explain the things involved in the scenarios. Wonderful. I also really like the front of the book here, where you have the color and shape coding based on the things that are added into the different game modes. I think that is a very quick reference. So here you see, okay, if I do Hunter's Expedition Solo, what's included in that? Everything with that red triangle. This is also great. The list of advanced rules, that way you know. Table of contents up front, wonderful. Field manual, having some sort of introductory scenario, great. Absolutely like that too. Components list, wonderful. Everything needs to have that. The diagrams in here also, there are a lot of diagrams and there are a lot of pieces. So something like this that would be relatively simple, you do need this diagram. I appreciate the yellow call outs here. I would have preferred more of a bullet pointed situation with those letters. It would make it much easier to go through and read how to set things up one by one.
I hate that they're midline.
Yeah, exactly. Before I get to my bad, I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else that I missed in here as I'm going through. I do think that things like this, these diagrams are great, where you're calling out specifically what they are. There was never any question with the mining and stuff like that, how to upgrade those. So there's a lot in this rulebook that is explained very well. That's why it's unfortunate that everything else is so goddamn confusing. And the only reason why it's confusing to what Board said is because of the two separate rulebook thing. We ran into the same issue with Luthier, a newer game. Again, that is relatively simple. It's not hard to learn, but the way they set up the tutorial with the rulebook and have you go back and forth between them to learn, it's way too confusing. Stop. What should be done, one rulebook that has every single rule in the game. It has the appendix for the cards. It has every rule for any question that could possibly happen, and it walks you through the rules just like with every single section, easily found. That way, during the game, if you need to look at the rules, you go to that one book the entire time. A second book should be had that has your different play modes in it. Starts off with number 1, your introductory mode. Number 2, the next one, 3, yada, yada, yada. What I do really enjoy about the way that they did set up the technical manual and the different scenarios is that they slowly gave you mechanics for each situation. That was really, really smart. That was very video game-esque, to where they give you some extra mechanics, you play a game like that, and then you go on to the next one where you play those same mechanics you played beforehand, but with a few extra ones to add some depth. Wonderful game design there. Unfortunately, the way that it was explained is overly confusing. So, I know we don't want to have a bunch of books typically in a game, but a game like this, much like Andromeda's Edge or Dwellings of Eldervale, it's okay to have a book that has scenarios, if you have that, a book that has all the rules for that, and then even a separate book for the appendix that you can have off to the side if need be. That is all preferred over this situation. And then I entirely agree. If you're gonna do event sections where you have the multiple choice situation, just have another small book that's specifically for the events. Like, it's not that difficult to do. Vampire Masquerade has 1,000,000 books that are tiny, that are specific to each story. So instead of trying to cram that all into one, having to constantly flip back and forth, it has one book that runs you through the story, and then while you're in that story, you use a separate little book.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. So
what they could have done too is like they obviously this is not part of the actual game storage, but like had a tray where it's like it's on the back. The answers are on the back, and you just pull it out. Okay, I read this side, don't look at the back, and then I decide, and then I look at the back.
Something, whatever be not as expensive. Just to touch on it, the player aid is great. This was definitely a saving grace during the game to keep us from having to dig back in this thing. I felt like every time we had a question about rules, it was exhausting because we're like, oh, I don't really want to ask this question because I don't have to go and try and find it in the book. And luckily, a lot of this was on this card. Most of the important things were on here. So because this player aid was so well done, because the technical manual was well done regarding the different play styles and what's involved in those play styles, and because you have this back page of iconography, I gave you a 2.5 out of 5.
All right. So next up, we get a little more detailed, and we talk about design with the components merged together. So how everything looks, how it feels, how does it make the game make sense?
Yep. Alrighty. Design. This is the one that I usually really nitpick other than storage. And I think it's also one that occasionally I have more of an appreciation for because of the art thing. So first I will say, I love the artwork in this entire game. I think everything is phenomenal looking. The location maps, I love the different styles they have. The fact that one side's nighttime and the other side is daytime. It looks like you're in this western frontier, which is so cool. I like the little town section as well. I think that was done really impressively. The different shops, graveyard, all that, these are also double-sided. I think that is all amazing. Looks absolutely incredible. The back of the cards are super fun. The individual upgrade cards and stuff, like this side, fairly simple, but straightforward, easy to understand. If you flip it over, I love that all of a sudden this looks like a poster because you maxed it out. Like, awesome. It should look special because it is special to get to that side. The board here, there are things I like and things I don't like about the general board. In general, I like the design of the artwork on the board. I like that this section is separate, that up here, these are very straightforward, that they list off novice, journeyman, master based on what you need to upgrade to be able to do all those. Even this section here, remove your grit to fatigue. It's very simple, but I like that idea. For the notoriety, having the points at the top, great. Having your skills in this section, there's a lot of information shoved in this tiny little spot, which I think works very well. Where it starts to fall apart is in the vigor and the speed section. So these are things where you are blocked off by these black cubes, right? I mean, you can't go above them. But now, like, it should be obviously self-explanatory, like, okay, if that's 5, that's 4, that's 3, but that's too much thinking. Like, I shouldn't have to see what's down there by covering with the cube. So what we actually did in the game is we took that off. We're like, you know what? It's much easier. Okay, I have 3 speed because that's what's below the black. Here with the health, it doesn't matter as much because you don't necessarily need numbers there. But this area here, it mirrors this, but it doesn't really make sense to do so. And lastly, I do like the wheel track, and I like that your character card does sit right there. I kind of wish, though, for the character card, everything else is dual layered. Why not make this dual layered also? Like, I don't understand. There's no real point to... Not also, though, I mean, this can play, what, 4 players?
Yeah.
There's 4 different ones of these. Unless you were planning, again, on expansion content, why is this just not on the board? Like, why is this not just part of the board? Printed on the board, and then you just have a marker for their starting stats. So there's a lot of...
little circle.
Right, so there's a lot of questionable things with design. The cabins, again, I like that the fact's a blueprint before you build it, and then when you do, it looks like the cabin that you would have. I did not choose the proper cabins here. I just chose random ones. We went to go do this. The little side card here that you have for all your inventory, this also probably wasn't necessarily needed. Instead of having this person and the picture maybe, you actually just have this section be for all that stuff. And you can just have them either off to the side or somewhere else. I feel like this would have been more important to have here as an indented portion over a character card that literally just sits here like that the entire time. You use it for the initial setup, but then it just sits there. So it feels like a waste of space around the board when there's so many pieces. So now things are made out of. The cards are all made out of a nice linen finished card. None of them have any dings from the number of times that we've played them. None of them have any bends or bruises, which is phenomenal. The metal coins, obviously I think I got separately, but the fact that they have them. The tokens here for supplies, if we can go to the middle here. Yeah. The tokens here for supplies, you know, they look like hide, like berries, like ingot, like wood. Love all of that. These little tokens, the way those look, phenomenal.
That all came through Bantam Planet, right?
They came with the game when I got it, so yeah. Okay. These I think I had to buy separately though.
But
from them.
Yeah.
The dice, I like that the dice are all unique as well. I am a big fan of this designed for your to-do lists. Such a ways to get your notoriety. This design of 2 halves of a book, not only giving you a fun little, I'm a sly collector thing, but also just completely randomizing your play every time you play. Great, looks wonderful. Everything is made out of nice cardstock. Even the wooden pieces are great. I have no issues with any of those. So now the thing that I do have a major issue with when it comes to design is going to be on, back to me here, these animal tokens. So I like that you have the abilities and stuff on them. I don't like that it covers up the picture of the animal. It looks really messy. It looks like you're trying to squeeze it in the middle. Just push those out to the edge and make the animal head a little smaller. I also would have preferred, like I mentioned earlier, there to be the animal's foot icon on here. We can go, actually right here, perfect. So right here, there's a foot icon. I'm not a biologist, a zoologist. I don't know.
Outdoor scientist?
Whatever. I don't know whose foot that is. I can make an educated guess that it kind of looks like a dog's foot, but so does one over here. So you have to reference the back of the book to see that it's a puma, wherever that would be, and then you put the puma down. It's too much. Like, literally put this picture on the token. Make it that simple. Easy. So that's one main issue that I have with the design of the components. Other than that, I think everything looks phenomenal. I did give design a 3.5 for all those little gripes that I had. The thing that really saved it for me and put it there at 3.5 was definitely the way that it looked. Oh, I'm sorry. I know I was forgetting something. This is the main reason why I dropped it from a 4 down to 3.5. These tiles. I hate these tiles. Not the way they look, not the way that they function, but how big they are and how you put them down. What I think, I said this on our last gameplay, would have been a smarter idea, and you may have tried this and it didn't work, so if you did, forgive me, is more of a Catan-style tile system. A lot of games are using this hexagonal tile because they all fit nicely together. So for this, you could have done that similar thing, similar to, what was the game I called that? Escape Plan by Vital Lacerda, where when you're putting down a tile, each side or multiple sides has a specific color, much like here, green, yellow, pink, blue. Some tiles will have multiple colors. They all will have multiple colors just to make sure. And when you put the tile down, you're building out your map, or maybe when you're discovering the western wilderness at the same time, you have to put a tile down orientated so at least 1 or 2 colors matches and touches a tile with those same 1 or 2 colors. That would have added variability to the map setup to begin with, instead of being the same every single time. it would have, I think, helped the table space because now, so in the different versions, you're using one tile or two tiles, whatever it might be. It makes it fit better, I think, also in the box and everywhere else. So I would have preferred to see these as those hexagonal tiles that fit together in different orientations, again, adding to the variety of the game. So, yeah, final score, 3.5. All right, your turn.
Yeah, all right.
I've talked enough.
Where to start? Let's start with the component. We'll start over here. These are nice and simple. Love them. Cool components.
Done.
Metal coins. All of these look like what they're supposed to look like. Those are fun. I enjoy them thoroughly. For the game board here, I do like the artwork on the tiles. Artwork on the town hall, artwork on these different locations around. The graveyard looks like a graveyard. This looks like a gun shop. I like that. So in terms of how the things just look generically, generic artwork behind everything, good. Design of setup, cannot stand.
Mm-hmm.
So to Nick's point, yes, I do think like these could be done differently with like the little Catan style. What I think would be way simpler, because I played this out in my head, is if this tile here was more rectangular this way, you could put all four of these around the side, each of the four sides. And then if you're on the tile that's over here, you can go to the tile on the bottom, you can go to the tile on the top. If you want to go through the town, then you can get to the other tile or go all the way around. And it'd be so much easier for travel, because what I hate is this scenario here. So this scenario, if we go all the way in, perfect. If I'm here and I want to travel to this tile up here, I can take this dotted line and then all of a sudden I'm over here. The lines don't match up, which is extremely annoying to me. Like this line is just pointed over here and then all of a sudden you're over here. They could easily have done it if they just built it around the town hall to be like, okay, it just connects to the tile right next to it. Mm-hmm. Or the circle right next to it.
Like with the different here where they have the symbol. Like this symbol means you go to that tile.
Yeah. But it would have been so much easier if that tile was literally right here.
No, yeah, I'm saying, so instead of having this event generic symbol, you literally have, like, here, if you went up and it was supposed to lead, say, to this one, you would have that same picture here.
Yeah. Yeah, so do not like this whole, how the dotted lines pointed for events to get to another tile. Was not well designed.
I left out a design thing that I'll mention after you finish.
Okay. Again, I agree, like, they could have just done the Catan style as well. That would have worked well. I do, again, the Western theme makes sense. With the town hall specifically, though, I don't like all the colored circles. I wish they removed these four here, where it's like, okay, to get from one spot to another, you have to use a movement. That just makes sense. Because every single location you go to here costs one movement to get from one to the other. Because your speed is at minimum 2 if you have a penalty, but usually it's 3 or higher. So you can get to everything. And if they were to just do that, it would just be here to be like, okay, it's cost you 2 movement to leave this tile to another tile. And that would literally balance everything back out. But I think this looks too cluttered with all these circles instead of just having, and again, the only reason is there's one enemy here during one game mode. Just get rid of that enemy there.
Yeah, but you can just have this location like you do those. Just have a whiteboard around this middle section, and it's still the same function.
Yeah. But yeah, this just looks too cluttered. For all of these, I really don't have any negative comments on. Again, they function correctly. You buy and sell stuff, whatever. And I like how you have skill checks listed right on it. And it's very clear. This can only be done once per day phase. It tells you in the rulebook if it's a white border, it costs a grit. If it's a clear border, such as none of them that I see here, then it's free, but you still have to pass the skill check. So I like all of that. What was the last thing I had? Oh, yes, last thing, player board. Player board. This is cool, to Nick's point, the little book thing, and it has like fun little terminology on it. The actual player board here, I understand what they're going for. This is obviously a very skill check heavy game, and you need to know your skills. Cool. What I don't like, to Nick's point first, is the fact that this speed is a solid cube. We are in the day and age of every type of thing exists for components. They could have had clear cubes. Just have orange clear cubes for mine, blue clear cubes for his, where you can just see through it. It would have been significantly easier to know exactly where you were at. For these skills here, your agility, strength, etc., there was a few scenarios where it said, oh, especially like one is on here on the saloon, you get a temporary +1. Well, how do I mark temporary on here? If I move this up, and then we do a whole turn of 4 people, it takes 20 minutes, I'm going to forget to move that back down.
Yep.
So there should have been a white colored cube or some off color cube that we had access to place there as a temporary. Mm-hmm. We've experienced this in Isofarian Guard. We're like, oh, a blue cube is defense for 1 turn only. Yep. And then you remove it. Yep. Should have been in this game. I'll start with the horse. The horse, I think, should just go on top. It doesn't tell you to do this, but I think should just go on top of the character because the character is meaningless after you've done the base setup. So this probably could just be a thing. You could just do it, house rule it. But I think the horse should just go there because, again, right now it just takes up extra space it doesn't need to take up.
Yeah.
But the problem I have more is this card. Mm-hmm. You spent time to design a decently nice player board. You could have brought it out another 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and made a whole section over here for components, or for your resources. Resources, cash, heads, items, etc. There is no reason why this is a separate little card. It seems like an afterthought. I know they go like, oh, it's a cargo catalog. Of you're writing down what you have cargo-wise. I'm not on a ship in the middle of the ocean. I don't need a cargo catalog. I need a backpack area on the board for my resources. And again, you can have just 4 spaces to know that you have a limit of 4, but it should just be on the board. It will look way cleaner, way nicer than this little card. The last thing I'll say, and then I'll stop talking, is these cabin cards. So when you unlock a cabin, so for example, I have 1 cabin here. I put a cabin card out. This now dictates that cabin. You have one of these little things go there. Cool, whatever. Let's say I get a second cabin, and this is on wood. Let's say I put a second one there. This goes out. 5 turns into the game. Which paper is for which cabin? No idea. Unless
there's components on it, but yeah.
No, it's the same component. That's why I put them both on wood.
Oh, sorry.
So there is no easy indicator on these to say which cabin goes to which one.
Yep.
You easily could have a token that you put a token down here, whatever it may be, or have 3 different shaped cabins. I don't know, but something to indicate which one is which.
The base game was all the same shape for every cabin.
That's true. But yeah, to have some type of indicator so I know that this cabin card goes to that cabin. Because if I had 3 resources on this, 0 on that, and this one burned down, did I just lose 3 resources or did I lose 0? I can't remember. So that was a major gripe I had because there was a situation, I think, where you had all 3 unlocked, and obviously you knew which ones were which, but I was looking over and I'm like, I don't know what resources, off the top of my head, because these are covering the resource symbol, go to which cabin, so how do I know which one I should go sleep at because I had an objective that required me to sleep with full resources in a cabin. So overall, there was a lot of good stuff. The design and artwork was cool, but there was a lot of little things that just didn't make sense or just didn't seem to have the time put into it to make it easy for the player. So I gave it a 2.5.
So the things that I forgot to mention. So one good, one bad. I love the design of where these cards go on the bottom here, that they have their own slots that they slide into, and then they move up and down out of them as you upgrade them. I think that was spectacular. They did it in the Witcher Old World also with cards, so I think that was a phenomenal idea. Then on the board, design-wise, the thing that I don't like is I actually don't enjoy having the boards that are universal, where it shows everything. I have one other thing I forgot. That gets confusing. That was another reason for the Catan style I was talking about, because then you could literally just have those tiles specific to solo, specific to this, specific to that, labeled A, B, or C, and then that way you never have to worry about a random thing being on the board that you're not supposed to be using.
Yeah, gameplay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Whew. All right. That was rough.
Might be rougher.
Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Time for gameplay, folks. What do you got?
So, again, 1 minute overview of how this game works. So, we as players have our player boards, we have our base stats. Our goal is to earn notoriety. So, if you play the 3rd scenario, you can play up to 15 or 20, or you can just kind of house rule it. It's in the back of one of the books, where you just say, hey, we're going to play until this number. So, you earn notoriety by doing a bunch of different things. One of those is doing this little to-dos card, You can fight people and burn down their cabins. You can do other things and gain cards to gain notoriety. Overall, you're utilizing everything out here to do that. So you're traveling the map and spending grit to do so. You're going to the different locations to shop or trade or do the different skill checks here to gain benefits or discounts. Again, you're interacting with players and their cabins. And as Nick had shown some examples of, you have different animals around or bandits around that you can interact and fight with and then hang their heads. So overall, you're doing a bunch of different things to earn notoriety. First player to get to the chosen number wins. And you finish the round and then they win. So that's the generic overview of how the game plays.
Yep. Before
I give my likes and dislikes, you probably notice I'm harsher in this game than most games. I won the game in our 3-player scenario 3.
Yep.
I lost the second one, so I've seen both sides of it. This is based on the fact that I've played it both ways and am given a true review, and not because I just lost and I'm grumpy.
Played it both ways.
Played it to win, played it to lose. I played to lose, and I played to win.
That's what I was doing wrong. I wasn't playing to win. Shit!
Okay, so let's start off with things I like. Okay. So, easy number 1. I love a game with skill checks.
Yes.
Skill checks are fun. They're very clearly marked on the game board of what the number is you need and what color it is, and it matches the color on your board. I like that they didn't put the letters next to it. So like green or blue is sneak. I'm glad they didn't put that. It's very straightforward. Just look at that, and then for some of these, have a little red mark next to it. If you lose the skill check, that's what happens. Mm-hmm. Great. Love it. I love in scenario 3 that there's a thing here for jailbreaking and that you can rob the bank and become most wanted. So that's a fun extra aspect that you can just go for that and just go to be a criminal and earn notoriety that way. Or you go this way after someone becomes most wanted and be the hero and kill them. So I do like that available option in the third scenario. I do love the third thing, which is I'll put over here, the endeavors. Mm-hmm. So that you have to upgrade your endeavors to do more. Yep. So right now, hunting, you have 1 rider. Once you upgrade it, you can get 2 riders. So you can't just all of a sudden max out on your riders and have OP stats. Mining, that's how you go to the bank and deposit money and gain the savings account. Foraging, which is gaining the herb resource. And then logging, which is how many cabins you can have out there. So I do like the endeavor aspect of having to get resources, put it on these cards and spend them there versus spending them elsewhere and upgrading. Thoroughly like that. Now, the things I don't like. Start off with a generic thing, which is the tiebreaker scenario. We experienced this in our second game on stream, so if you see the end of our playthrough, you'll see this. The tiebreaker is very confusing in 2 ways. Number 1, the way it's explained in the book, it says, if 2 people tie, then go right to sudden death. If 3 or more people tie, then do this other thing. So how it's written in paragraphs does not clearly say how it works for only 2 people or how it works for 3 or more. It just kind of, you assume both things happen at the same time. It's not straightforward, which is a rulebook problem. The other tiebreaker issue is if we're playing to 10 notoriety, I get 10 and Nick hasn't played yet, and he goes and gets to 11, from 9 to 11 on his turn. Do we still go to sudden death because we both got to 10? Or because he got to 11, does he win?
I'm pretty sure I would win. It's like every other game.
That's how it should be, but it doesn't. It says here, as soon as you get to 10, everyone plays, and then everyone who got to 10 or higher does sudden death.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
So it's just, again, it's very vague, we just house ruled it to say, okay, someone got to 12, someone got to 10, 12 wins.
Yeah.
So tiebreaker scenarios, not a fan of how it's written in the book. And it made it not confrontational, but it made a discussion point at the end of our second game through.
Not a good discussion point.
Yeah. Scenario 1 was not a fan of. I'll start there. So the introduction scenario, it was too basic, in my opinion, because there was no requirement to battle. So if I'm going to play an introduction scenario, I want to cover all the main points of the game. So shopping is one, sure. Getting a horse, getting some resources, building a cabin. But the other main thing there is battling, either a bandit or another player. So that wasn't a requirement on side A of that card, if I remember correctly. I thought I looked back.
No, it just says get a kill, which will be. So it is battling, just not each other, which is the same thing as battling.
Oh, it says no. Right
here, it's not. It's side B.
It's side B, yeah. Because so side B it says you could play. Side A it doesn't have it.
Yeah, side A is a passive.
Yeah.
Requirement, but you still end up playing. Because I fought somebody during.
Oh no, but you don't have to. So I wish they would just add that as a fifth marker to be like, okay, you have to do each of these 5 things, which are the 5 main things of the game. Yeah. Because again, we ended up figuring out how to battle, but I wish it was just a check mark to be able to, okay, I thoroughly know how to play this game.
I mean, they explain fighting in the introductory scenario booklet.
True.
Because it is something that you do encounter.
Not well, but they do.
In that. It just wasn't the thing to get notoriety.
Yeah.
But
that was how you win the intro scenarios, to do all 4 of those things only.
Right, but then if you want to continue to go on to do the next set to really learn that other side of things you didn't get to do.
I guess you could do side B.
That's exactly why they use side B. So what they did is they gave you side A to do more of the passive things to learn that stuff. So buying a horse, build a cabin, purchase a weapon, master an endeavor.
Yeah.
The very kind of basic things on the outside.
No, I know.
On the other side, it's completely different. Get a kill, buy a drink, pass a store interaction, use a cabin.
Yeah, but I wish like all 8 of those were just the requirement, like to start off. Instead of play A, reset everything, then play B, just like play for all 8. So that way you're fully understanding.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is, again, so in the intro scenario, I don't think I fought anyone. In scenarios 2 and 3, there wasn't that many player interactions. And I don't know, I don't want to say it.
That's a lie.
There wasn't that many. Compared to how...
3 you guys were interacting every single time, either with each other or with me.
Not every... Over a 3-hour game, I attacked you 3 times in 3 hours.
And he attacked you?
Once. That was it. 4 fights in 3 hours.
Okay. Still. There's significantly more. But the thing is, that was also a choice you made. You easily could come attack
me. So that's the next point.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just now let me give my side of things here.
I'm trying to, like...
So, the reason for that, and I have to know, is player interaction minimal because, in my opinion, battling isn't worth it. So, for example...
I agree.
If Nick is here, I'm here, and we're fighting. So,
5.
Fantastic. So, if we're fighting, boom, I use a card, I deal Nick 1 damage. He has 4 health. He goes down to 3. He decides, hey, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to run away. He uses his card to run away now. I am no longer in line of sight. I can't fight him anymore. I can go here. I can reinitiate, spend another grit to move, and another grit to fight. So I've spent all 4 grit now. Move 1, fight 1, move 2, fight 2. I hit him for 1 more. He moves over here. I have to use a card to move here on my next turn. He moves a card here. Again, fight's over. So I dealt him 2 damage and spent all 4 of my grit just to run around in a circle. Pretty much. So the way they built player interactions, to me, was horribly done. Where, and again, I think this is we played 4 pirate and Western themed games this month. And all of them had an issue, in my opinion, with interacting with players. Because...
Sea of Legends doesn't.
Oh, Sea of Legends half co-op. So Sea of Legends did not. Correct.
Yeah, because you're constantly interacting with everything.
The Tiny Epic... Which one was it? Western?
Yeah.
Was the one the interactions were not there.
Well, the Tiny Epic Western is the one where we constantly dueled and you lost. You didn't like
No, what was the other one? Vikings?
No.
No, I always think it's Vikings, but it's not.
No, Pillars of Heracles.
No.
We did a while ago.
No. What was the last one we did last month?
There wasn't an issue with interacting.
Yes, there was the other game we played last month.
We did Tiny Epic Pirates.
Tiny Epic Pirates, I think it was the one. We also... Yeah, Tiny Epic Pirates, where we didn't really battle that much because it just didn't make sense in the game.
Things. Yeah, that's probably the one you're thinking.
Yeah. So I think, but in my opinion, if you have a Western game and a pirate theme game, battling and fighting each other is kind of how it worked in real life, in the Westerns and in pirate situations. And to me, 2 of the 4 games we played didn't have good interacting scenarios.
Yep.
So that, to me, was a huge gripe of mine in this. And I wish it was done better, because I had a thing where I needed to kill a player. It took me 3 full attack attempts on Nick to do it, and I only was able to succeed because he had 1 health left from a different interaction and was in range where I could just go and do it.
He had to kick me when I was down.
Yeah. But I was like, but they made this where you can just easily run away every time, and it costs way too much grit to chase.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my 3rd point, or whatever point I'm on now.
Yeah.
There's no other way to earn grit.
Which leads me to my first point.
There's no other way to earn grit in this game. So you have 4 grit to start. As the game progresses, there is no cards that we've seen. There's no tiles or riders that give you more grit.
Yeah.
as you're in a game, if you're playing a 20 notoriety, you can't just do the 10 things on these cards. That's 10. You have to go around and do other things, like interact with players, get resources here, bring them all the way over here, do something, come back. That takes your whole turn. Yep. So it took us over 3 hours for me to, and all three of us kind of got close, where it was just a lot of almost wasted turns where I'm like, I picked up some stuff here. I had to do 2 roll attempts to do it. Okay, now I move to the town. I'm done because I just used all my grid. I can't do anything else now. It took me 2 moves to get over to the town. So I wish there was a way, like, as maybe if you finish one of these cards, you get a grit. You finish that, you get a second grit. You can earn up to 6. That would be a nice way to handle it.
Yeah.
I think I have 1 or 2 more things and I'm done.
It's all good. Go for it.
Yes. I'm going to go on the things you can't do well. We're going to go back to the player board.
Things you can't do well. Steve, spell. Me?
Math.
Math quickly. I can do math just fine.
With a calculator.
I can do it in my head fine. It just takes me a little bit longer.
Cribbage might say different.
Wait, no.
You do like 3 plus 3 plus 3. It's 12.
Exactly.
Another issue I had. So again, you can't earn grit. You also cannot earn skills that easily in this game.
Yeah, speed confused me. Like, why is there a 7 on speed?
Speed.
Who's getting a 7?
Went up by 1 here because I have a horse until my horse falls in a gopher hole.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. That's the best part of this game.
But there's right here. If you earn 5 notoriety, if you earn 10 notoriety, you go up by 1 on 1 skill track. That was really it. Other than a temporary one, and then here your rider can earn you certain skills, but it's only certain skills based on what rider is available.
Yeah, you'd have to play a super long game where you're trying to max out notoriety all the way to 50.
You'd have to play like a 10-hour game.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like my agility never moved from 1, so I never did an orange check because if I needed 8 on, or a green check, if I needed 8 on green, could never get there because it's not possible.
Yep.
So that really bothered me. Similarly I wasn't a fan of, let's say, how you earned money. I
agree.
So you can earn money. If you gather resources, you can go and sell them on the main board over here. You can sell them, let's say, $2 or $1 per for a lot of them, and then you have to buy them for $2. You can get a head of an animal or a bandit and hang it or sell it for like $3 or $5. And that's about it. But if you look at what you need to spend money on, horses, $5. Weapons, $3, $5, or $7. The pursuit cards, $3 to $7. The drinks up here, $2. The vault, you can go spend money in and like try to earn interest, but it took a long while. If you put $1 in there, to earn $5 would take you 6 months of time, which is obviously half a year in game. I think we played maybe 1.5 years max for 3 hours.
I think so.
So you would have earned maybe $10 in 3 hours of gameplay.
And one of the requirements on one of these is make $15 in the bank.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could deposit.
You could, but then you're sacrificing everything else.
Exactly.
So it wasn't very easy to earn money doing things. Like, there wasn't really many event cards that were like, hey, you won $10. It'd be like, here, you get this event card. You can go trade it at the trading post for $2. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really help me now. So I think that if they added more ways to earn money, or maybe made the goods worth a little bit more, because I think there's a point where you can get a lot of goods, but you only have 4 spots. So the fact that I only have 4 max storage spots on my person, they should make them worth a little bit more if I'm going to sell them.
Yeah. You froze.
Nope. Now it's last 2 things and I'm done, because now I know exactly what you say.
Nice.
Last 2 things. Number 1, can I have one of these people?
Yep. Go for it. A legendary. Up air.
So there was a situation here where, perfect example right here. Let's say you're 1 space away fighting an animal. So you start at range 1. They get a card that says they can move 1. So if I'm running the card deck for the enemy, boom, I flip the card, it says, oh, you defend and you move 1. You run away. It doesn't really tell you how to move that creature anywhere in the rulebook. So we kind of just did it, but it's like, okay, do I move here where I'm still in range? Do I move here while I'm still in range? Or do I move here out of range? Unknown. It doesn't say. If I'm in the same space, that's a bad example.
What was your question? Sorry, I missed that entirely.
No, it's like they didn't really explain how to move the enemies. If the enemies have to move based on their card, it doesn't explain like where to move them to.
It doesn't explain. My logical mind goes to moving them to a spot that is keep them out of harm's way. If they're a defender, if they're
but that's just normal logic and not in the book.
Right, if they're an attacker, I would have them move into my space.
Yeah,
towards me.
but neither was that because there was a situation I think where they were the attacker against Josh.
Yeah.
And they had to move, and it's like, well, do they not move because we're already in the same space?
I think it might say in the book that the person controlling the deck gets to choose.
But I don't necessarily like that. Like there should just be a predetermined if you are attacker, move in. If you're not if you're defending, move out of harm's way.
They're trying to give it to player agency. I get what you're trying to do with that, so that way you could screw a player over, like you can move them right in. But it doesn't really do anything moving them right in either.
But it keeps them in line of sight.
Yeah, if your person's trying to get away, but if you're not trying to get away, then why move them right in? You know?
Yeah. I just wish it was clear.
Yeah, I agree.
Very last thing, then he can have his rant, or not rant, I don't know, is...
I don't know what's up to say.
There are 2 weather conditions here.
Only 2.
There's only 2. There's only 2. On these 2 tiles, they don't change from front to back, from day or night. They're the exact same thing I checked.
This would make sense, at least.
No, what I believe should happen is every one of these should have a weather marker, except one maybe. Let's say 3 or 4 should have a weather marker. It should be a deck of cards.
I agree.
And you, at the end, not knowing what it's going to be, night phase happens, you draw a card for that location.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, that's what happened.
Yep.
Because right now I know, oh, downpour, I roll a die. Well, I got a 1. Okay, I'll spend a willpower roll again. I know every single time that's going to happen. I know every single time here I'm going to take a damage. So I wish it was a little bit more not predetermined, where I had to learn the consequences after I'm already done with my turn and I don't have any other choices left.
Yep.
That would have made the weather aspect more interesting in the game and potentially more harmful.
Unpredictable. There's no meteorologist in this time period.
Yeah. Like, no fires in the snow. No wildfires. That makes sense. That can stay. But the frostbite take damage of it?
That can stay.
Okay, like, that could be just an effect of that tile.
Yeah. It makes sense, because a fire's not going to be able to spread in wet ground.
So, because of all of that, again, play thoroughly 3 games.
Does it even have a positive score after all of that?
It's a negative 200.
My lord.
We've played a lot of games. Like some, don't like others.
Yeah.
I enjoy games that have skill checks. They're very fun to me. Like, I don't do D&D, but I like skill checks. D6 is one that's very close to D&D without being acting, and I love it.
Yep.
This was not that. To me, it could have been done way better. And again, rulebook made it significantly more complicated for gameplay purposes. So I gave it a 1.5.
Ooh, damn.
That's why I wanted to clarify at the beginning. I won one of the games, and I still did not enjoy this.
Damn. Cut it down at the knees. Holy shit. All right.
Lieutenant Dan.
To keep you watching, mine will not be that low. My lord.
It won't be a 5 either.
It definitely won't be. Okay. So first and foremost, to state what it looks like they were going for is an open world Western board game where you are trying to get notoriety by doing whatever you want to get there. I appreciate that. I think there's aspects of that they did very well, and others that not as much. So, I'm going to lost the train of thought with the whole thing I was going to say. So
because I talk too much?
Yeah. I'm just going to be in pieces. So, starting off with the weather thing. I was thinking the same thing. I agree. There should be a deck that is the weather. It wouldn't be per tile because, again, I would prefer there to be no tiles. Just a weather deck that you pull for each tile where there is a person. So in that like hexagon tile, if there's 2 people on there, 1 card for both of them. Okay? In that deck, I would like there to be a variety of things besides weather. Some are clear skies, some's rain, some is, super cold night if you're not inside, some is being attacked by bandits or being robbed by bandits. So not weather per se, but more of
a night phase. So it's an overnight effect.
So like it's a night effect, which could be weather, could be anything.
I like that.
Second thing, like I said in design, I like the design of the book thing with the tokens if you're going to do it. I don't like the gameplay aspect of this because this makes the game feel very
focused.
Checklist the Western game. Instead, I like quests. I like that idea. Red Dead Redemption, you have your missions and side quests like a video game. You can do that here. Everybody gets a main quest to start. And you can go on that quest. And during the game, maybe events give you the side quest you're doing. Or you could do it like a game we're going to be playing later, The Witcher Old World, where on the main quest there are side quests that you can also do potentially.
Witcher adventure game.
Sorry, The Witcher adventure game we're playing later.
Wait a second.
Either way, in both of those,
That's just in both.
In both of those, there are side quests. My point is, though, don't give me a predetermined checklist that I'm gonna have to try and like check things off because now it feels like okay, I don't have any agency anymore because now I have to do these to even have a chance at winning. Mm-hmm. Instead, make it random. Make me not be able to plan ahead. Like okay, I'm gonna do all this so I can do that one thing. No. Here's your main quest. Do this thing. Go burn down a house.
Yeah, that was like my first 4 to 5 turns.
Yep.
In our game, it was like, oh, I'm just going to do 8 of these, boom, 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 boom,
Exactly.
and then I'm going to try other stuff.
Exactly. So that I was not a fan of that gameplay element. The enemies. I'm not a fan of how the enemies were done specifically there. Again, I wish that there was a deck that you drew when encountering an enemy, and that enemy could be any enemy. You're in the frontier. The bears are not going to stick to one area. Gators are not going to stick to one area. Pumas, wolves, they're not going to stay in neither are bandits. They're not going to stay
to the water.
On their friggin' thing. Yeah, but there's water everywhere. So instead, have an enemy deck where enemies are randomly drawn and flipped over. And that way those enemies also have random stats. Have bears with different stats. You have a great bear. So like you have these legendary creatures, very cool, but only used in one game mode. Have those mixed into that deck where, holy shit, there's this legendary creature that's out there.
You got the Yeti.
Or you reveal a legendary, something like that. And then one of the side quests could be to kill a legendary creature or a specific one. Something like that. Makes it way more interesting. The tokens, they have the same stats, not as much fun. All right, continuing to that whole idea with battling. I like the card battling thing halfway. I like when battling an enemy, you're randomly pulling a card for them. Works for me. I like when battling a person, you are choosing from a hand of cards to play. I don't like that you can only use one weapon in battle. If you're carrying it, you're carrying it. If you want there to be a limit on the items or weapons, limit the types of items or weapons you can hold in general. 2 guns, 1 large gun. Like the 2-hand thing, like a typical RPG. Items, certain number of items, stuff like that. Just limit that, and then I can use whatever the hell I have that's not exhausted when I go into battle.
Somehow I have an unlimited TNT that never runs out.
Exactly. The battling itself, I don't like how when 2 people flip a card, if they both get to attack, both people get hurt.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
We never played like that.
Yes, we did. You did. You took a damage, I took a damage. That's how it worked. I took the damage first, though, so if I die...
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't like that. Instead, if that happens, agility check right away.
Sure.
The quickest person is the one who attacks the other one.
Yeah.
Done.
No, okay.
But
I thought you meant it was like, oh, if you die, or if I died, and then I still deal you damage. Like, no. That would suck if that was...
With that comes the skill thing. There needs to be an easier way to upgrade these skills. Have the upgrade, if you're going to do it on the notoriety track, which I think is 5, fine. You do something where once you get 1, you get a skill. Cool. Now you don't get 1 until you get to 3. Now you don't get 1 until you get to 6. And progressively the last one would be 10.
So 4 every 10. That's
Up, just like that. You keep going. And you don't have to do the rollover thing because when you go back to the 1, you get that 1 again. And you keep repeating that. So this way there's an incentive more so than just winning the game to upgrade notoriety fast. And maybe do the easy thing for notoriety because you're going to get that skill because it can help you with the next thing. Okay. Money. I hate the banknote thing. I don't think it fits the theme. We are cowboys, outlaws. We're not putting money in the goddamn bank. We are stealing money from the goddamn bank.
Put it under a mattress.
So the investment thing, while I appreciate the idea, I don't think it works for this specific game. Instead, you should be able to go to that bank and rob that thing as much as you want. So go, and then you pass the skill check to rob it. And I think the bank is the thing that should be accruing money over time. So once one person robs it, say it starts with 5, right? Once one person robs it, they get that whole 5. Then 1 token goes on the bank. And every turn that somebody doesn't rob it, another one does. And another one. And another one. None of that. And then someone can go and rob it and take all that. And it starts over. That at least gives that same idea of interest accruing, but puts it in theme more to where it can be robbed. And then in this last game, you make it more difficult to rob by having that guard there like you did. Oh, I like that they're awkward.
No, I don't like it.
Because it fits, again, the theme more.
Sure.
There's no mint thing. So rob the bank, have your interest accrue there by itself. Don't give me a banknote to put money onto the save. I hate that shit in real life. Which is why I didn't do it in the last game. It's also incredibly difficult to do.
Why did you do that? Oh, Josh attempted barely, and then he took it out.
You literally have to start at the beginning.
That's what I said.
It's just so dumb.
Yeah, it would take the 3 hours to get $10.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. It just kills the joy. I like that you can set shit on fire. I think that is a lot of fun. Like you can set the town on fire. I like the way that the fire spreads. I like that the person who set the fire can control it. I like that you can burn down people's cabins. I think that's a very fun thing, even though mine was the one who got burned down and blown up.
Oh yeah, one got burned down, one got blown up.
But that's fun. I like that kind of chaos. That makes sense for this. I like that Josh was playing with us the other night. He was able to do a bunch of stuff, fire off the weapon he had to launch fire into my cabin that slowly burned it down. That is so cool, so much fun. It makes for very exciting moments. Fire spreading, I think that's great. The way that you can douse the fire, you can tame the fire or befriend the fire, essentially meaning put it out, run through it, or stand in it. I think that also is fun.
I think it's a little bit out of theme.
The standing in it is out of theme. You could do douse and run through.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
It's like, hey, you befriended a fire. Like, am I a mage all of a sudden?
That I agree is a little out there, but whatever. There's some things that like are fun mechanically that you can put your disbelief to the side. That's fine. Oh, man. I love the upgrading of your various skills, the logging, the hunting, the foraging, and the mining. What I don't enjoy about them is they don't really make sense as to what they line up for other than logging. Logging makes sense because the more you log, the more you can log, and then you can build more cabins. Cool. That makes sense. Hunting giving you additional riders makes no sense to me. You're hunting. That has nothing to do with the people you're hiring whatsoever. So instead, hunting, I would have liked where the higher you increase that, the more you could hold in your inventory. Like that was a way to increase your inventory. Mining, I like that. I wish that would somehow relate to money differently than the banknote. Like allow me to, maybe my money goes further for whatever reason.
Sure. When
buying a weapon. I don't know. Foraging felt like it was pointless. Like I don't even, like it says novice journeyman, but it doesn't actually.
That's the other side.
I know it says, but it doesn't actually relate to a novice or journeyman thing on your board.
No, it's just like the 3 levels.
Yeah, I know. But again, make it relate to something. Like allow it to do something. So here, you can discard 2 to get +1 health or +1 will. That's cool. Yeah. You can discard 2 to restore 1 grit once per day. So that's the only way that you can get a 5th grit.
Is so you have to have that, and you have to use 2 of your 4 resources.
Yeah.
So you also get ignore weather. Or just downpour.
Yeah, so the price to get there is a little bit too much. Especially when you can only hold 4 resources at a time. So not really into it. So then the grit. Yeah, there's no way to get more grit other than apparently upgrading your herbalist. And you can do that once per day to give you a 5th one. But like, it's coffee and it's cigarettes. Let me buy that from the store. Make it expensive. So that way you can't constantly buy it. Yeah. Make that thing cost $10. And sure, I will go rob a bank to then go over to the store and buy myself some coffee or cigarettes so I can do an extra action going forward. Absolutely. Oh man. I gotta think of some good stuff. I think the last thing that I don't like that I'll point out is I don't like the purchasing of the first player token. In this kind of game, that thing should just cycle clockwise. Each round, cycle clockwise. It doesn't really make that big of a difference because of how open this is. So cycle clockwise to the next person, and then just keep on going, just like that. So now for the things that I do like. I like that there is a town area that has all the shops you can visit. I like that you can buy a horse or break a horse. I like that you can do the skill checks at the locations to try and get discounts or do different things. I like that you can get materials and go and sell them for money. I like this calendar will up the price or up the selling cost of those services, as well as restock or overstock the gunsmith. I like that the gunsmith has a bunch of weapons out there that you can purchase. You can always see them. I really like the idea of the graveyard. I wish there was a better way to really do that. I wish whenever you kill... I guess you can. When you kill a bandit, you can go... We read that. So yeah, the graveyard I like a lot. That you can go there and literally bury someone and get a reward for doing it. And it keeps like... I didn't end up doing that. But I think that's a really fun idea. I like that there's the bar.
I'm surprised you didn't at the end, because the head that I stole that won me the game...
Well, you stole it from me. I didn't have time to...
No, because you went here and sold something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought you were just going to go here and bury it and be like...
I didn't have enough movement. My third movement was there. That's why.
That's why. That makes sense then.
Yep. I like that you can go get a drink and you can mount heads for some extra purchase stuff. The drinks can heal you. I think that's a great way to go and heal, and it makes sense in theme. Like you go to the bar, relax. It's great. I like that if you fail a check where it has the bars, that you go to prison. That is a very fun in-theme thing. I like that when you die, you keep playing. You just go to Doc Barber to refresh and keep going. I really like the way that you get your resources in this game. I like the idea of having to go to a location, do a skill check of foraging to get those items, and then you can upgrade that foraging, such as meaning you've done it enough that you're better at it, and then it allows you to forage more. That was one of the fun things is like doing that endeavor and getting a bunch of stuff in one go. That was a lot of fun. I really like these event cards. I think those are great. Like at the end of each, not at the end of each round, but every time you cross over, there's some sort of event when you go from planes to planes. Again, this I think could be consolidated down to where you draw 2 event cards at the end of a round. You draw the main event that affects everybody in that round, depending on potentially where they are here, and then you have like their weather event thing, which could be a little more pinpointed. But that was fun. It added some story flavor. Like there was one in one of our first games where one of the options was to slap a hysterical person, and our one of our players like, yeah, I'm gonna slap him. Absolutely. So I think that is all very fun. There wasn't a lot of player interaction, like you guys said. I felt like there was. I felt like I was being targeted, so it felt like there was more for me. Because I guess I'm also thinking about my cabins being targeted as a player interaction.
Oh, no, I didn't consider that in my...
Yeah.
Those are just out for free.
Everything is skill checks and dice rolling, which is not my strong suit, as you know, but I still have fun doing it. I wish there were some things you could get that could alter your dice in some way other than just re-rolling them. That would have been fun. Like, maybe you get items that can, like, play out to increase your die or change the face.
Sure. Something
of that sort. Oh, what else is there? I touched on fighting, cabins. Yeah, I wish there was more of a reward for beating somebody. Like, you know, like kind of you're saying, like, it just didn't really feel worth it because of how much grit you do, so that you can take... I mean, you have options.
But it was like, so if I burn down someone's cabin, I get a notoriety. Awesome. Makes sense. I attack and kill somebody, I can get up to 10 of their gold, and get, not that we really ever had gold to do.
Yeah, one item, one head, one weapon.
But like one item, all of the good items have a thing that says you can't take them.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like if you kill somebody, you should just be able to loot the corpse. Take whatever you want, as provided you can carry it. And again, if you have an item limit and a weapon limit on what you can carry, then there is that. And anything that's not taken stays right there in that spot. Any weapons or anything of that sort stays right there. So if there is a thing where, like, you do, in player versus player, the other player loots. In PvE, you would drop all your supplies and your heads in that location. Should be the same thing if a player kills you. Like, everything gets dropped. So there's definitely a lot that I would change about this.
What do you upgrade? I didn't know you could upgrade this.
I didn't know either.
It's one of these, I think. Oh, that's separate. There's one of these as a pack mule where you get 3 more spots.
Oh, maybe I don't know.
I think that's a separate. Oh.
There's a lot about this that I do really enjoy, that I think is a lot of fun, that's in theme, that creates random situations. And I do really enjoy that everyone can kind of choose their path to victory. I wish the path was a little more undetermined when it came to like the checklist situation. So, in the end, long-winded, because I don't think this game is bad at all, and the gameplay is bad at all, I think the gameplay isn't great. I think the gameplay is that just okay situation. So I give it a just okay score of 3.5 for gameplay.
All right. So, per usual, we'll do a very...
Okay, see there?
Oh, the box to go right here. We're going to do a very quick overview of each category. We won't harp on them too much again. And give the bald score, the board score, and then the combined score.
Yep.
So, first off, we have storage. Storage, again, was just a box of things. So I gave this a 1. Nick was a little more kind and gave it a 2. Bald and Board gives that a 1.5. They made you pay for extra storage or actual storage if you wanted it. So, wasn't great.
Yep. Next up is the rule book. I gave this a 2.5. Board gave it a 1.5. The biggest issue is that the game's not complicated, but the rule book made it complicated. Separate your pieces, be organized, and make it simple to learn and simple to reference.
Next up, design. I gave this a 2.5. Bald gave it a 3.5. Bald and Board Games merged that in the middle at a 3. And design, artwork looks cool. It is Western themed. But there was a lot of things, specifically the player board, that we both had issues with. There was the other whole tile design of how it made the game look, where you could have done it significantly better, again, Catan style or some other style.
Yep. All right. And for gameplay, I gave this a 3.5. Board gave this a 1.5, which means Bald and Board Games gives this a 2.5 for gameplay. So there's a lot of potential here, which is great. Like, this could be a great game, so fun, but there's too many things to trip over while playing that just don't work. And that ultimately dropped it down to that 2.5.
Yep. So then, combining all 4 categories together, again, gameplay being weighted at 40%, the other 3 categories at 20% each. As board, I give a Bantam West by Bantam Planet a 1.5.
And as Bald, I give it a 3. So Bald and Board Games gives Bantam West by Bantam Planet a 2 out of 5.
Yes, this is, I think, our second, based on our structure, certified don't play game by Bald and Board Games. Again, there's a lot of potential.
Yep.
And I know they're coming out with an expansion or a new version.
Yeah, so to be clear, this is the first edition, of course, of Bantam West. Later this year, 2025, I believe in November, they will be launching a campaign for the second edition. I've been talking to them. They said they did want to send us a copy to play and potentially review or do a preview for, so we'll let you know if that's going to happen or not. But they guaranteed that our gripes would be addressed with this. And Bantam Planet, if you end up watching this review, we sincerely hope that you take everything we said into consideration for your redesign. Everything that we are saying and have said and the scores we give are not to be vindictive or mean. It's to be as honest as possible because we want to help creators, including ourselves, make the best games as possible.
Yeah, and especially, like, again, we're here, we had 2 friends on, we want to all have fun and enjoy it. And again, it's almost there. Like, a few changes would have jumped gameplay up to like a 2.5. There's a few changes where it flowed a little bit better.
That's it.
But that's a 1-point jump. But then obviously has more stuff.
That's not your max. Okay.
No. But like, to me, like, if player interaction was better and the whole, like, you couldn't run away as easily, it would have been like a 2 or 2.5. But like to me, that annoyed me so much. Right, it took me 3 attempts to kill you.
I know, I loved it.
And I was like, this is annoying. Like we both play within the rules, but I'm like, it's just annoying. Like if we're in the middle of the frontier, he's not just all of a sudden hiding behind a rock and I can't find him for another month.
Yeah.
Like come on.
Just jump down the gopher hole that broke the horse's leg.
Yeah.
Just in case it wasn't clear, because we kind of went quickly into an explanation afterwards. The score of 2 is a Bantam Board Games certified don't play.
Yes, that's based on our structure where as we go up the ranks of 5, everything has like its own group. 3 to 3.5 is just okay. 4, 4.5 is must play. 5 is perfect. We only have 1 of those. Go find it within our 42 review videos.
We'll give you a hint. It's by Vital Lacerda.
It is. It's last June-ish we played it.
Unsurprising.
And then yeah, anything 2.5 or lower is a don't play.
Yep.
But we hope version 2 comes out, we do it, and all of a sudden it is a must play.
Absolutely.
So we hope to see that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what they're going to be putting out there for the campaign. So I hope that you all are as well. If you're thinking about getting this version of Bantam West, don't. Just wait. Wait for the next one. See what they have in store there.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the second edition is substantially better than the first one.
Yeah.
So very excited. Excited to see the actual storage.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching us here at Bald and Board Games as we reviewed Bantam West by Bantam Planet. I'm Bald.
I'm bored.
And we will see you not here.
Nope. In the gutter.